Hey there, welcome to day 57 of our Let's Grow annual challenge. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, and today we are on step 3 of our growing process, and that is to organize options. What the heck does that mean? Well, we picked our relationship. We decided what do we want from that relationship? What's our end game? What's our goal? What's the top of the mountain or the big long-term picture of what we want our relationship to be like? And yesterday we got real with ourselves and we examined what is the current situation and what is the current state of that relationship. And today we're going to think of options that will improve that relationship and help us get from where we are to the goal that we want. We wouldn't be working on this relationship if it wasn't one we didn't want to improve and grow and have be better. So the first thing, this is a kind of a two-part step. Like I say, organize options instead of just saying options, is we want to first brainstorm some options, some possible ways, possible things we can start doing, actions we can start taking to begin to fill that gap between where we are and where we want to be in this relationship. And secondly, we're going to determine what is the thing to take action on first. We're going to brainstorm a bunch of options, and then we're going to select among those options. And I'll give you a couple of criteria to filter through. As we go through the growing process throughout this year, I will share different tools with you for each of these different steps in the growing process. Sometimes I share something for analyzing alternatives. I do the same thing as we go through this SOAP framework, and we're going to do that every month too, because it helps us to deal with changes and challenges and setbacks and obstacles and make sure that we have a process that is automatically running in our subconscious so we get better results than if we didn't have that conscious process going on with us. So what are some possible options or possible things we could brainstorm in order to improve our relationship or help us go from where we are to where we want to be in the relationship? Number one, we can always explore opening different communication channels, right? If you haven't talked to your dad for 6 years, guess what? You could text him, you could call him, you could send him a letter, you could, pick up your cell phone and call him. If you don't know his number, guess what? All you gotta do is go online and search it. You can find almost anybody you want to find online. Then we could explore shared interests. If you are in communication and you want to improve the relationship, one of the ways to do that is to have shared experiences and to do things together. And we could also, if we have to, seek professional help. There's a lot of dysfunctional people and relationships in our lives, and sometimes we need to seek the help of an outside third party to help us navigate that relationship. It's why people go to marriage counselors. It's why people go to any kind of counselor, is to help them, number one, to be a better version of themselves, and then number two, to interact and relate with other human beings better. So that's just a couple of examples. Maybe you invite your mom over for coffee at some frequency, or maybe you decide that you're going to do something with your friend once a month and you schedule it out on the calendar for 12 months so that you know that you're going to commit to and get together. Whatever it is for you, brainstorm at least 10 different things. It can be big things or small things. It could be, hey, we're going to go on a family cruise. We're going to or go on a family trip or have an outing or plan some kind of a family reunion or event. Whatever it is for you, brainstorm at least. And I say, whenever I talk about brainstorming, I've gotten pretty consistent about this. Brainstorm at least 10 possible options. It gets you out of that this or that, or thinking that there aren't any possibilities thinking. And so always brainstorm at least 10 things before you start to analyze those options, before you pick one. Unless one is so obvious that you should have been doing it already and you just take action on it immediately. Then you don't need to necessarily, but then I say brainstorm 10 because as soon as you're done with that one, you're going to want to do another one. All right. What are some ways to determine which of these things to take action on? Maybe you have a list of 10 or 20 things and you're like, oh my God, all of these are good. How do I decide which thing to do? Number one, I always assess the feasibility. What can I do quickest, easiest, with the least time, energy, and effort? Those are the things I usually do first because they get the ball rolling and they get me taking action right away. Then we also want to prioritize our goals and think about our goals for this relationship with respect to the options that we're looking at. If I'm looking at an option of taking a trip with my family, and I know I can't book or get on that trip, or I can't do it until summer vacation, that's going to take a lower priority than things that I could do right now. And then another way to look at it is to consider possible outcomes. One of the things we forget to do sometimes is we take action without thinking of the consequences or outcomes. Outcomes, results, consequences, they all mean the same thing, but what could possibly happen? And we're not looking at that to stop us, but we're looking at it so that we're prepared in our minds. Well, this is what I'm going to do, but it could go this way or that way or anywhere in between. And am I prepared to deal with those outcomes, consequences, results, etc.? So that's just a little bit about today's assignment. So what we're going to do, again, action item today, brainstorm at least 10 possible ways to go from where you are to where you want to be with respect to the relationship you're working on. I'm working on mine with my mom, so that's what I'm going to brainstorm today. And then I'm going to analyze those items and decide which is the right thing to do, now. What can I do right now today? And work on that. So any questions? Write up guide 2. It's always a write up in guide 2 of the Let's Grow Annual Challenge private Facebook group page. Also, the videos are all stored there. So if you miss a day, you can always go back and watch it. In the Get Up and Go Challenge private Facebook group page, there are all of last year's challenges every day from last year. And February 1st on had a write-up for that challenge. So I'm still doing it this year, and I added the story. The previous year's annual challenge, let me think if that's in there. I don't remember. But there's I think 17 different guides in there with different challenges that we've done in 2020 and 2021. Every other month I did a 30-day Get Up and Go challenge. And so those are all in there. So any topic you want to search, you could say, outcomes, choosing among alternatives. You could search in the sidebar, something like that, and get a whole lot of examples. Or you can type relationships, because for the last 2 years, I've spent at least a month on each different life framework area as part of the annual challenge. I found it a really powerful way for me to focus in on the different areas and aspects of my life, especially the ones that sometimes get overlooked or ignored in the everyday happenings of our lives. All right, have an awesome day, and I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow. Hit me up with questions.